The thing is with most traditional businesses, and even now with like online businesses, are that you have monthly expenses. Someone that wants to try and create a new income opportunity or side income, but you feel under pressure because at the end of each month, you've got various expenses like, website costs, online fees, inventory, rent, rates, staff, just various monthly expenses that most traditional businesses have. And that's really why a lot of people have fears about starting a side income, a side hustle, whatever you want to call it, is because people have in their minds, oh, yeah, I want to get into a side business and make some extra money, but what's it going to cost me each month? I'm going to have this expense, I'm going to have that expense. And the problem is, by the time you start running a side business opportunity, all of a sudden you've got this expense on your bank statement, you've got this expense, and all of a sudden you've got like several hundred or even several £1,000s in expenses each month. And so I wanted to create some opportunities that will basically let you start something that where you can keep your expenses very, very low. Unlike, like I said, traditional businesses where you've got various expenses each month. And that's the problem that you've got to, in my mind, personally, I think, anyone who might be in a day job, a 9 to 5 or whatever, and wants to make an extra income stream, you need to think of something. You need to think of an opportunity that is going to be like proven, obviously, but also something that is going to be a low overhead business, because that is the trick for running a side income opportunity, is that you need to find an opportunity that is a low overhead business. So these three ways that I'm going to show you are all basically very, very low overhead opportunities. It's not going to cost you much money. Another thing as well with these three income opportunities are that you don't need any capital for any inventory. You don't need any money, although these are all based around physical goods. You will never need any of your own money to buy any physical goods. All right. You will never need to buy or invest your money into any physical products ever. All right. And you will also never even have to physically handle any products, which means you don't need any storage or warehousing whatsoever. And you can do all of this without the long hours. And that's the great thing, because all the methods that I teach are basically, I'm really all about time effective ways of making money. All these methods that I'm going to show you are all online methods that you can do at speed for an hour a day or a couple of hours a day. And finally, these three ways I'm going to show you to double your income in 2025 are basically methods that you can do without any experience whatsoever. So that means that this is a very low barrier to entry opportunity, because you can literally jump in and get started very, very quickly, even if you have little to no experience. And what I will say is, if you can search for things online, if you can Google stuff, if you can Google and search for things, or literally just search the internet, if you can do that, it's very much based around searching for things online and then executing things with email and basically online messaging, like, email, WhatsApp, and all these online messengers on, different platforms, etc. So this industry is basically, it's all based around surplus industry. A lot of people don't actually know what the surplus industry is. Surplus goods are goods that businesses have in their warehouse that are, let's have a look. Okay. They could be slow moving goods. All right. They could be, um, like end of line. So it might be a range of goods that are just an end of range. All right. They could be, sit down here and do this. They could be excess stock, meaning they might have imported too many of something and it didn't sell as well as expected. All right. It could be just surplus to requirements. It's just an overstock of goods that a company has in their warehouse that they no longer want. It's just unused. You see, what the thing is with companies, when they bring goods into a warehouse, it has to rotate. It has to come in and then it has to go back out within a few months. And if those goods haven't rotated, there's a problem. And that company has a headache with those goods. They are now sitting on some goods, taking up valuable warehouse space, and with money tied up in those goods, and goods that are now going down in value. And so they've got a big headache. They've got a problem. And so this industry is basically, it's all about dealing in these goods that are surplus. Okay, now surplus goods can come from any type of business, that sells physical products. So who's at the top of the ladder of physical goods? You got manufacturers. Okay, you've got importers. You've got importers of products. And then you've got distributors of products. And then you've got wholesalers. Okay. And you've got retailers. And obviously you've got retailers, and then you've got online retailers as well. So you've got all these types of companies that all handle physical products. They all deal in physical goods. Whether they're a manufacturer making those goods, or a company that imports them, or a company that distributes them, or a wholesaler. It doesn't matter what type of business it is. It could even be just a warehousing company. But all these have one thing in common. Okay, all these businesses have one thing in common. And I'll tell you what that is. They all store goods in a warehouse. So they all have one thing in common, all these companies. They all store goods in a warehouse, don't they? Have you ever driven up the motorway or up a highway or wherever you are, and you see big warehouses on the side of the road, don't you? Massive ones. But you also see new ones being built or extended. We are literally running out of storage space because there's millions of companies dealing in physical products, importing products, and it's just there's more warehouses now than ever before, and there's more and more being built. And so here's the thing: there's warehouses all over the world, and in those warehouses are goods that are simply unwanted, unused, new goods that companies no longer want. And there's the opportunity, guys. These goods that are sitting in warehouses, pallets and pallets of goods. I'm going to show you some examples here. Look at these. I found them from a Amazon seller. There was about 35,000 of these reversible plush toys. Found those from an Amazon seller. Yeah. That no longer wanted them. I found these boxes of gloves from a company that no longer wanted them, a distributor. Found these, some gardening gloves from an importer, no longer wanted them. Okay, I found this, some packs of coffee from a company. It was surplus to requirements. Found a load of these camcorders from an importer that just bought too many. And so they were sitting on a load of unwanted stock. Crazy. Found a load of these Kit Kats in a warehouse from a wholesaler who was wanting to get rid of them because the expiry date was running short. How crazy is that? Found a load of these vitamins from a warehouse. It was just slow moving stock. They just wanted to get rid of it. Found a load of these handbags, loads of different colours and styles from an importer. They just bought in too many and they were just left with a load of stock they needed to get rid of. Found a load of these neck cushions from a online retailer that was sitting on a load of surplus stock. What else? Here, even packaging, takeaway packaging from a packaging company. They were sitting on too much stock that they needed to get rid of. All right, and another one here, some packaging, some paper cups from an importer. All right, so there's literally, here's another one here, some straws, a load of straws that I found. This was actually from an Amazon seller as well. We bought about 20,000 packs of these from an Amazon seller. There's companies everywhere sitting on unwanted goods that they just want to get rid of for pennies in the pound, cents in the dollar, guys.